In section 1, we got familiar with the gear menu. There were lots of different options in there that you can use to customize how your company file works, and I want to take you into the gear menu now and into some of those options and show you how to customize some of those different things so that your company file works best for you. Let me go ahead and flip over to QuickBooks and we will dive right in. I'm going to click on the gear icon. And I want to start over in the first column underneath where it says your company. You'll see an option that says account and settings. These are going to be like preferences or options that you can turn on or off or edit in QuickBooks. As we go down the tabs on the left, and we'll start with company, if you want to change anything in these different sections, just go over to the right and click on the little pencil icon, and that will take you into the edit option. You'll notice here that I can add my company logo just by clicking the plus sign, and that will let me navigate through my computer to find my logo. I could edit the name of the company if I like. Also, you might want to put in your EIN number or your social security number. You're going to use your social if you're a sole proprietor and you really don't have payroll. If you do have payroll, you're going to have your EIN number in here so that QuickBooks can use it to help you with your payroll. I'm going to hit save, and that's going to save that little section. The next little section says company type, and you'll notice the first thing is the tax form and then the industry. I'm going to click over on the pencil icon here, and I want you to notice that you have the ability to add whatever type of tax form that you actually file when you do your taxes at the end of the year. You can add that here. Now let me just make a little point here. You do not have to pick anything here. As a matter of fact, if you do not file your own taxes, if you have an accountant, then I would pick other or none every single time. Your accountant will know what type of tax form that you file. If you pick any of these options, what will happen is when you're working in different places in QuickBooks, there will be an extra field that says which tax line on the tax form would you like to put this on. You're not going to have a clue if you're not an accountant, and you'll just get stuck there every single time. So why see that field and get yourself stuck? I'm just going to pick not sure, other, or none. And the other thing is you have an industry you chose when you first set up your company file. I chose professional services. You can change that if you want, but I'm going to leave that and hit save. The next little section you'll see here has to do with your company email. You're going to have your customer facing email. The difference is that the company email is the private email that you'd like different things sent to from Intuit, for example. The customer facing email is the one you want the customer to see, and that can actually be redirected to your company email if you don't want to have to open 15 different email accounts. You can always have as many email accounts as you want and redirect them to the one you'd like to funnel everything into. There's a place to put in your company phone and your company website here. Again, you would edit that over on the right, and the company address down at the bottom. Same thing, you can have a company address that's seen on the back end, and then one that's called customer facing, meaning that's the one that the customer actually sees. Let me go down on the left here to billing and subscription. This is where you're going to be able to go in and upgrade your existing subscription if you'd like. You'll notice that you can subscribe right from here, and you can see all of the options, and we've talked a little bit about these before, so I'm not going to spend much time on that. The next one on the left is usage. There are some limits to some of these different subscriptions. For example, when you're using the QuickBooks Online Plus and you need more room, you'll want to go ahead and upgrade your subscription. For example, the one that I'm using only allows me one user. If I want to add a user, I may need to upgrade my subscription. There is a number of items you can put in the chart of accounts as an example. It's 250. Just a little FYI, the desktop version allows you to have 14,500. If I need 251, then I need to upgrade my subscription. And then down here where it says classes and locations, you can have up to 40, and if you need more, then that's another reason you would want to upgrade your subscription. I'm going to go over to sales on the left, and there's several things in here that you may want to go ahead and work with. Now later on, we'll look at customizing the look and feel of your different forms. For example, if you have an invoice and you want to add your logo or something like that. But these are some things you can turn on or off right here in your forms. For example, let's say that you like to invoice your customers and you want the customers to automatically have terms of net 10, for example. Well, currently they're net 30. Let me go ahead and click on the pencil icon and show you some of these. Here's where I could change this to one of these other preferred invoice terms. If you're not familiar with the ones that say 1% net 10, like these three, and there's 2% net 10 and 8, basically what that means is the customer invoice will be due in 30 days, but if they paid in 10 days, they can take 1% off. It's a way to get your customers to pay you early. If you have a preferred delivery method, you can choose it right here. Do you like to print things now, or would you like to send things later? I'm referring to an invoice as an example. Here where it says shipping, if you don't ship anything, then you can go ahead and uncheck this and this will say off. If you do ship things, then you had some options down here where you can have sales reps and put in purchase order numbers, things like that. These are custom fields. You can also turn those off if you don't need them. If you want PO number, not sales rep, for example, just uncheck the sales rep option. You can have custom transaction numbers, and that basically means that if you want to put in your own transaction numbers, you can go ahead and set that series up. You can have a service date field. You can also have fields for the discount, deposits, or tips or gratuity if you use that. You can just go in and turn these on or off. I'm going to hit save right there. The next thing you're going to see is products and services right over here, and you'll see there are several different options related to that you can turn on or off. For example, if you don't track inventory, you can actually turn off this inventory option right here. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. There's also some options for late fees. There's also some for progress invoicing, and let me just mention what that is just so you'll know. If you estimate jobs, construction is a prime example, you're going to want to take that estimate and turn it into an invoice at some point so that your customer can pay you. You do not have to pull everything from the estimate into an invoice. You can pull in 30%, for example, or maybe you want to pull in certain items that were on that estimate into an invoice. If you do estimates, you will want progress invoicing. There's a couple more options here. Let me scroll down. There is an option for messages. When you actually email a form, so let's say it's an invoice, for example, or what they call a sales form, you have the ability to email it directly to your customer. You can set the default message, and I'll go ahead and click on that one so we can see. You can say dear, or you can say to. Notice you can have a merge field if you want to have their full name, their last name, first name. And you can use the standard message that you see right here below when you're actually sending out that email. You can also have a copy emailed to yourself every time if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and hit save down at the bottom. A couple more things I want to point out. You'll notice that there is an option for reminders, and I want to briefly tell you how reminders work. But before we do that, I think we'll go ahead and stop the video right here. Let's go over into the next section, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about some of these other options here for account and settings.